Annyeonghaseyo. Good evening. Welcome to the channel. As you all know, I'm a big fan of Korean entertainment, movies, and television, and had a lot of stuff to catch up on recently. There's been a plethora of great Korean shows to watch. I'm still watching, with one episode to go, The Fiery Priest Season 2. The next episode of that is tomorrow, the last episode of that. And I also just finished a couple of days ago, before Squid Game 2 got dropped today, an excellent show called Light Shop, which I will be doing a video on, which was made by the same guy, Kang Pool, who made Moving, one of my favorite shows of all time. So I've got a lot of good things to say about Light Shop. Looking forward to talking about that. However, this backlog has come upon me because today Netflix dropped season 2 of Squid Game, the global phenomenon, as a phenomenon, I can't even say that word properly, from a few years ago, which I have an incredible soft spot for because it was one of the first, if not the first, Korean shows that I specifically got into um, watching because it was Korean. My good lady wife had watched a few things before me, such as Crash Landing on You and Hometown Cha 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 and a few shows like that. And we'd seen a couple of movies back in the day, seen Train to Busan and The Host and a couple of other things. And obviously, when Squid Game came out, it became a huge, huge hit globally. It's very different, a certain visual style, quite brutal with the games that people were playing in it. Um, Deadly Stakes. So a very intriguing world that it built. It became a hit. So a lot of Korean shows are meant to be one and done. They're not necessarily big in their television shows in having sequels. That's been broken a few times here and there, but because of and I think the writer of Squid Game had originally said that it was meant to be a one and done thing, but because of the success, it was almost inevitable Netflix would want to bring it back for a round 2. In fact, there's going to be a season 2 and a season 3. Obviously, I think all filmed in the can, but they've split that into two seasons instead of putting it all out at once. Not necessarily the biggest fan of that myself, but so they had built in a little bit of wiggle room at the end of Squid Game so that there could be a second season. Now, there will be spoilers ahead, I should say. I'm going to talk about some spoilers. I'm not going to give everything away about the show because I do want people to watch it. And it's a show very much worth watching. If you haven't seen the first Squid Game, never mind the second one, go back and watch that and then watch Squid Game 2 together. So there will be some spoilers. Just thought I would let you know. But there will be certain things I don't want to give away. And as I say, it was a show that really got me heavily into the Korean entertainment world. And I'm very glad it did because I would say that 90% of my movie and TV watching and since then has been Korean entertainment. Now, at the end of, for those who've seen it, at the end of the first season of Squid Game, it was pretty certain that if they were going to make a second season, that there wasn't going to be an awful lot of returning cast members, given the games were lethal. So, but there are some mainstays have returned, obviously. So, let me just call up a couple of images here. So, just give me a second while I do that. Season 1. The main protagonist was Lee Young-ye's Seong Gi-hun, sorry, and here we go. Right, getting it now. There we go. You see this production thing. This is all off the cuff, so it's really great to see Lee Young-ye back in the Korean sphere after his foray into English language work with Disney's The Acolyte. saying I don't particularly want to talk about that show, but it's great to see him back in Korean stuff, doing what he should be doing, and in this leading role. And his character in Squid Game went through a very big change, down in his luck, not necessarily the strongest of guys emotionally or morally, sucked into these games where, with the promise of big riches for the winner, without understanding the implications of what the games were and who was running them and why. So obviously he's back. As you saw at the end of the first season, after winning and getting all that cash, he decided to, well, let's say, not repent. He was very emotionally impacted by the deaths of his fellow competitors and so on. And the realization that the people in the games were poor people being manipulated by ultra rich people for entertainment purposes. And that is the overriding theme of this in season 2, is this exploitation of people that are down on their luck, and some of it's their own fault and some isn't, by these mysterious shadowy VIPs who you see this as entertainment, but it's life and death entertainment for the people involved. Anyway, at the end of the first season, and just at the very beginning of the second, you see him turning around from basically walking away from this and pledging to take down the front man who was running the operation and the people behind the games. And then season 2 then jumps forward a little bit. So he's back and he's built an organization. He's used some of that cash to get a safe house, collect some weapons, do some research, and he's looking to find another character, principally, that can lead him to the front man that's running the show and the people behind it. And he's looking for Gong Yu's. How would you describe him? He's the recruiter for the games, and he knows that if he puts enough people on it at the right time of the year, he's going to find Gong Yu's character in the Seoul and try and get to the rest of the organization through him. Now, episode 1, a lot of it is about that, and there is a climactic confrontation between Gi-hun and the recruiter, which has got to be one of the best things about Squid Game I've seen. Basically playing a game of Russian roulette, the two of them. Fantastic work by both actors, but Gong Yu, absolutely brilliant, playing he plays this very suave-looking guy, but he's pretty unhinged and brutal underneath that. So it's good to see him back for at least one episode. Not going into it too much, but so also back, of course, is the fantastic Lee Byung-hun as Hwang In-ho, the front man, masked for much of the first season, the manipulator, the manager, the guy that runs the games for his VIP bosses. Found a few things out about him in season 1, and there's more revealed in season 2. So he's obviously back as well, and Gi-hun is looking to take him down and looking to get to him through the recruiter and to find out just where these guys operate out of. So you can expect, I've only watched five out of the 9 episodes, you can expect that at some point they're going to confront each other, or at least be together, because they were not physically together face to face anyway, with the front man unmasked in season 1. So the front man has the advantage over Gi-hun in that he knows what Gi-hun looks like. Gi-hun doesn't know what he looks like, at least we don't think he does. So he's back, but also back is his brother. His brother is played by Wee Ha-jun. He is playing Hwang Yun-ho, and he's a cop who did infiltrate the games in the first season looking for his brother. who happens to be the front man. so he's looking to take his own brother down, or at least find him. And there is a great scene in season 1 where the front man takes his mask off and reveals to his startled younger brother that it's actually him, who then proceeds to shoot him and he falls off a cliff. However, he survives this, and he is back in season 2 and looking to get back into the games, find the island that they were on, and take his brother down. And he does team up with Lee Young-ye's Seong Gi-hun to do that. So they're working together. They start working together. So those 4 guys are back. There is a completely new cast of players in the game. We get to see a little bit more in episode 1 and 2 of how they're recruited. We also see the fact that Gi-hun, despite his money and resources and the people he's gathered around him to try and take the organization down, is still being outplayed by the game, or by the people that run the game, who, let's face it, are a formidable organization. So we see Gi-hun basically allowing himself to be taken by the front man and put back into the game, because he believes it will lead his team that he's hired to track him. They'll be able to track him to save him. Unfortunately, of course, he's underestimated them and the tracker is found. So he's basically back in the game by episode 3, having to play it for survival again with a whole new team of players. But he has some advantages, or at least they appear to be advantages, that he knows what's about to happen, and he knows that everyone's lives are in danger. Of course, telling them that isn't necessarily something that they want to hear or understand at the time, because they still think they're playing in some kind of survivor type game, not realizing that death is the penalty of losing in this. So his very knowledge of what he's being forced to take part in again kind of works for him, but it kind of works against him, and that's part of the experiment side of it, the social experiment side that we see in this. There's the two things going on. There's the very poor being exploited by the very rich message, but there's also what will people do for money? What will they do if someone tells them they shouldn't be doing this because they could die, but they still want the money? And they've introduced in these episodes the idea into the games after every round, those that are left, the survivors, have to vote on whether the game is over and they take the prize money and split it and go, that's been gained so far, or they continue to get bigger prizes. So you would think, after seeing a bunch of people brutally slaughtered, that they would say, I'm out of here. Well, that maybe doesn't work that way, because those people are in there, many of them, because they're desperate for cash and they want more and they think they can survive. So that's an interesting experiment that's done to, not necessarily they have the chance to get out. Often they say, no, I'm going to stay. And of course, everybody has to stay then. So there's also a subplot now going on with the guards, with those great purple masks and the purple outfits. All the sets are back, all these wonderful multicolored, bright colored sets and the kids' toy looking type things. And it's all based still on kids' games. So they think, so there's a subplot with the guards. You see a little bit more behind the scenes with them, particularly that some of the guards have a little scheme going, which they did have before, around using the dead contestants and taking their organs and selling them. But maybe one of the guards isn't so keen on that and is trying to prevent them. So there's a behind the scenes conflict going on between these guards, which can get quite brutal too. There are new games. The first game starts off the same, which is the red light, green light one. But then it moves on, much as Ki-hoon says to the others that the second game was going to be the cutting out of the shape. Doesn't work out that way. There's a completely new set of games after the first one, so he's thrown off by that. And others then say, well, what do you know what you're talking about? You said it was going to be this game, it's now another one. So the games are once again inventive and clever and force people to do things to either work together or work against each other to survive. Once again, this big social experiment of who can work with who's going to exploit somebody because they think it'll make them survive. Will people turn on each other? These people, strangers, forced together into this pressure cooker environment of survival and tension. And that's indeed where it ends at the end of episode 5, which was the last one I watched today, with a new game being introduced, Mingle, where people who thought they were going to be working in a team because that was the previous game now find that isn't quite the case. So that stuff's fantastic. It's chaotic, it's violent, it's brutal, no quarters given. But at the same time, you get to know the personalities of the players and the different motivations. And there are some who know each other. There are friends in there. There's a mother and son. There's a boyfriend and girlfriend who split up. There's some other interesting characters that I will talk about when I'm reviewing the final episodes. But anyway, so far, lots of great cliffhangers, lots of action. I loved the Gong Yu, Lee Young-ye sequence with the Russian roulette in episode 1. There's the subplot going on of the cop and a hired team of mercenaries trying to find the island to save Lee Young-ye's character. That's also going on. I don't think we've seen quite everything there that's going to happen with those guys. They're not having a great deal of luck finding them, but that's these people that are running the games are very clever and well concealed. I don't want to give one of the big surprises away, but let's say that Lee Byung-hun's frontman has a lot more to do in each episode than he necessarily did in season 1, and is a lot more visible, and has some surprises for his character in store. So it's great to see him and Lee Young-ye, two heavyweights of the Korean scene, opposite each other in many scenes. So it's one of the enjoyable parts for me is seeing that. So anyway, episodes 1 to 5, I'm enjoying it. Nothing revolutionary compared to season 1. It's more a continuation, but it still is, for me, is the same engrossing tension. Want to see what's going to happen next. The principal characters are ones I want to follow. There is more of a how could we put it, an action mystery element with trying to find and get to the people behind the games, as well as the games themselves. So not so many surprises in how the episodes of the games are structured, more a different set of people playing them and different games, and a couple of twists to how it's done. So very engrossing. I'm enjoying it so far. Can't wait to see the next episodes, and I will talk about those when I've had the chance to watch all of those too. So anyway, my first thoughts. Pretty good. Love it. Want to see more. Want to see the rest, and then I'll be upset because I've got to wait months for the next tranche. So anyway, thank you for watching. Appreciate that very much. Hopefully didn't give too much away about the show if you're going to watch it. And I will fill you in on the remaining episodes when I've had a chance to watch them. So till then, stay well and Yonki Geseo.